Hi students, this is Leah Hepburn and this is a mini audio lecture on process analysis essays. So in your textbook, in your patterns textbook, this essay is simply called a process essay. I like to call this a process analysis essay because it's more accurate. I think it reflects what the actual essay is asking you to do. So if you think about the words process and the words analysis and what they mean, we can come to an understanding of what a process analysis essay actually means. So what is a process? Well, a process is how something occurs or the steps in a procedure. And analysis, what is an analysis? Well, to analyze something really means to break it down. So we're examining each of the parts of a whole. So we have something, a topic, a subject, we have a whole topic, and we look at each part and we analyze each part. We examine the parts of the whole. So then putting those two definitions together, a process analysis essay examines the steps in a procedure. So really what this type of essay is asking you to do is to examine or investigate, to explore the different steps in a process of your choice. And you can choose any process that you want. The essay prompt, which is located in the modules on the Canvas website, will explain exactly what this essay is asking you to do. But the basic part, the part that is most important, is that this essay asks you to examine the steps in a process. All right, so if you've never written a how-to essay, you probably assume that this pattern is only useful for things like recipes or scientific experiments. Even if you have written a process essay or a how-to essay, you probably won't have experimented much beyond something like how to play Monopoly or how to play baseball or something simple like that. So this is actually your chance to be introduced to the possible uses and variations of process writing. Process writing is used frequently in all disciplines, really, and very likely in whatever career you choose to go into, you'll actually be asked to do some process writing. Now, you might not sit down and think, oh, this is a process analysis essay. But really, anytime you write about steps, anytime you examine parts of something, you're actually writing some variety of process analysis essay. So if you take a look at your textbook, we're reading from chapter 9, and on the very first page of chapter 9, there's a paragraph, right, by Hayakawa. And this paragraph allows you to actually review the difference between instructions and process explanations, and the differences in person and tense that these forms require. You can easily see how Hayakawa would have altered the paragraph if he were giving instructions rather than explanations. So taking a look at this paragraph, and again, I'm on the first page of chapter 9. Depending on what version of the textbook you have, the page number will change. But there's an example paragraph here, and it says, to define a word, then, the dictionary editor places before him the stack of cards illustrating that word. Each of the cards represents an actual use of the word by a writer of some literary or historical importance. He reads the cards carefully, discards some, rereads the rest, and divides up the stack according to what he thinks are the several senses of the word. Finally, he writes his definitions, following the hard and fast rule that each definition must be based on what the quotations in front of him reveal about the meaning of the word. The editor cannot be influenced by what he thinks a given word ought to mean. He must work according to the cards or not at all. So this is a process explanation. All right, and a process explanation is different from a set of instructions. Now, in your own process analysis essays, you have the choice to write a set of instructions or a process explanation. So the paragraph I just read that's in the first page of your chapter 9, is a process explanation. And this type of essay is not for the purpose of teaching the reader how to do something, but rather to help them understand how it is carried out, to help them come to a better understanding of it. In process explanations, you can use first person or third person. In the example paragraph, they use third person. You have two choices for tense, verb tense. You can use present or past tense. If you use present tense, This indicates that the process is ongoing, so it's habitual, meaning it happens on a weekly basis, or a monthly basis, or a yearly basis. It's ongoing and it probably will happen again in the future. If you use past tense, this means that you're talking about a specific time that this process was done. So even if the process is something that's ongoing, if you're talking about one particular time that it happened, then you would use past tense. On the other hand, we have a set of instructions. So the other option for your essay is to write a set of instructions. And the purpose of instructions is to enable readers to perform a process. So in other words, to actually do something. You're giving them the tools they need to actually perform or do a process. Writing a set of instructions, you don't have as many choices for person and tense. Instructions are usually written in second person. In other words, the subject of your sentences will be you. And you'll use the imperative mood, or you'll use commands. So for instance, if I say to you, write an essay, I am commanding you to write an essay, and the understood or implied subject of that sentence is actually you. So it's understood that the subject is you, making my implied sentence, you write an essay. And in a set of instructions, we will use the imperative mood, or we'll use commands and the second person. When you use the imperative mood, you generally also use present tense verbs, unlike process explanations, which can use present or past tense depending on the situation. So this is just a brief introduction to process analysis essays. There'll be further mini lectures on process analysis coming soon, focusing on the first two readings for this unit, which are Getting Coffee is Hard to Do and How to Decorate Your Room when you're broke. Thank you. Bye.